Yetis, adventure, and legendary cities filled with treasures beyond your wildest imaginations. If this sounds like a book that you're interested in, be sure to stick around and come back after the intro. What's up, everybody? My name is Brad, and today I'm back with another book review for you guys. If you happen to be new to the channel, I read a lot of indie and small press horror, a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of fantasy. If that is something you are interested in, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on any videos. Also, browse around and check out some of the other content on the channel and see if you come across anything that you enjoy. But like I said, today we're here for a book review, and we're going to be talking about Whiteout by Ashton Macaulay. And this is a Nick Venter adventure. I'm assuming there's going to be a whole series of Nick Venter adventures. I know there is a prequel to this book. I can't remember what it is called, but at the end of the book, and this isn't really a spoiler based on how the book is set up, but there's going to be a sequel to this one. Another Nick Venter adventure says he will return in the book called Downpour. This is put out by Aberrant Literature. I did receive this for review consideration, and Ashton, he did sign it for me and wrote a little note, which is really cool. But Whiteout, this is a bit different from the books I've been reading as of late. I've been reading a lot of horror, and this isn't horror. It does have horror elements, glimpses of horror splashed across the page, especially when this big guy right here is involved. This is definitely more action-adventure heavy. But like I said, it does have those little small doses of horror mixed in. The best way I can describe this book is to picture Indiana Jones, but he is a narcissistic drunk who, instead of hunting down these ancient treasures and relics, is instead a monster hunter who goes out to hunt down these mythical creatures of legend. That's our protagonist, Nick Venter, in a bit of a nutshell. Now, saying that Nick Venter is a narcissistic drunk doesn't mean that he is a completely unlikable character. He does have his moments where he's full of a bit of snark, a bit of sarcasm, a little bit of charisma at play. But I really feel like this facade he puts on, the sort of narcissistic side, this sarcastic side, along with the drunkenness, that's all sort of his defense mechanism, facade, if you will, to sort of bury the ghost of his past, these sort of lingering ghosts that come to haunt him. We get told that Nick has been on lots of other adventures before. He's seen lots of things. He's been lots of places, and it seems along the way on those different escapades, he has lost people close to him, and those are sort of the demons that haunt him. And I felt like, the drunkenness and the sort of, all about me attitude is just sort of a way for him to block that, not get too attached to anybody so he doesn't get hurt again in the future. But like I said, it does mention in the book a lot about his prior adventures. It says on the back, he has adventures with or encounters with amateur necromancers in the bayou, with a Sasquatch impersonator in the Pacific Northwest. And every time it would mention one of these other adventures, I would just think to myself, now that is a book that I want to read. So I hope we do get a lot more Nick Venter adventures. I do think the prequel book, and I can't remember what it's called, I think the prequel one is the actual Sasquatch impersonator's story. So that one's really cool. But the Necromancer one, that sounds awesome. So I hope we maybe get that story one day. And like I said, there is going to be a sequel to this one called Downpour. I'm not sure what that one is about, but I'm totally here for more adventures with Nick Venter. I did really enjoy this style of storytelling. So to get to the heart of this book, it's a story within a story is how this book is laid out. And that is one of my favorite tropes, storytelling devices, whatever you want to call it. Within fiction, I love a good story within a story. So at the beginning of the book, Nick Venter, he's been paid a pretty good chunk of change to tell his story, his encounter with the Yeti creature, to this guy named Winston. Now, there's something off about Winston, something a bit mysterious, but Nick can't quite put his finger on it. So that is how the story plays out. We sort of cut back and forth from the present day with Nick regaling his story to the actual journey and expedition itself, when Nick and his assistant James, but James doesn't like to be called his assistant, it's his protege, his apprentice, if you will. They were hired to travel up to the Himalayas, where these murders have happened, where it looks like some villagers have been killed by some type of unknown beast. They sort of do their exploration, their bit of investigation, and they sort of learn and uncover that there's more to this than they were originally told. They were sort of brought here under false pretenses, and on top of all of that, Nick Venter's arch nemesis, a man named Manchester, arrives, and he is seeking out the lost and legendary city of Shangri-La is how you pronounce it, I believe, and the treasures that lie within. So it comes to find out that the Yeti is the actual creature that they are after, and the Yeti's lair is at the gates of the city of Shangri-La. So after that, it's sort of a race to the peak of the mountains. Who's going to get there first to kill the Yeti creature and claim this treasure within the city? Is it going to be Nick and his little group, or is it going to be Manchester and his sort of army of mercenaries that he has brought to the mountains? So as I said earlier, Nick Venter himself, he's a likable enough character. He's interesting, but my favorites, my standout characters in the book were his apprentice James. He's sort of snarky and talks back to Nick, doesn't take any crap from him. I really liked him. But probably my favorite character in the book is their Sherpa guide, a man by the name of Lopsang. He was funny. He had some back and forth with Nick, but he sort of has these secrets of his own, and I really liked getting to explore his character. We get a lot with his character and sort of his backstory and what is going on with him, and I really liked him and these, I don't want to spoil anything, but the sort of secrets that are revealed about Lopsang, those were some great moments. I was sort of surprised with all the mix-up of different genres this book is. Like I said, it's mainly action, adventure, but there are these sort of fantastical elements at play. There's a little bit of black magic here and there, but some really fantasy elements, especially coming in towards the end of the book, were at play. And then along with the horror elements, anytime the Yeti is on screen, and the Yeti's on the cover of the book, and it talks about him on the back, about them hunting the Yeti down. But I don't want to misrepresent it. The Yeti is not in here very much. He is sort of important to the story, but he doesn't appear very often. But I will say, when he does appear, he is super brutal. He's bloodthirsty. He's rending flesh and tearing limbs off bodies. He's really an unstoppable force, and that is about the size. He's huge compared to our human characters. So he was a force to be reckoned with. But I don't really feel like the Yeti was the focus of the story. More the focus was getting to the city of Shangri-La, opening those gates, and finding whatever treasures might be within. So the Yeti is present, but he's not as present as might be represented by like the cover and the synopsis and stuff on the back. But yeah, like I said, whenever the Yeti's on screen, super brutal and violent, and I really enjoy those scenes of the stark white snow splashed with the bright red blood whenever he would just be ravaging through the different mercenaries and adventurers on this expedition. So in closing, adrenaline-fueled action infused with terrifying horrors. Whiteout by Ashton Macaulay is a fast-paced, white-knuckled adventure to the frigid peak of the world, chock full of deadly dangers lurking around every corner. If you're a fan of Monster Hunter stories, books involving cryptids, just great, fun, entertaining action adventure stories, I definitely think you should check out Whiteout. I gave this 3.5 stars, rounded up to 4 for Amazon and Goodreads. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to reading other Nick Venter adventures. Like I said, there's a prequel to this one that I believe is about the Sasquatch impersonators in the Pacific Northwest. Just saying it makes me laugh. And then the other Nick Venter adventure that it mentions in the back says he will return in Downpour. So that one sounds exciting as well. But that's all I have for you guys today. Again, this has been my 3.5 star review of Whiteout by Ashton Macaulay from Aberrant Literature. That's all I have for you guys today, so thank you for spending your time with me. Again, my name is Brad, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.